sky was burning, the clouds red with twisted fire, lightning moving across them. And they descended upon everything, like a furious battle between God and Satan, good and evil, like a fire vortex.
Hello, good evening, everyone, to another great night of SGL action. This is the only Mazar, and I'm gonna be killing my voice tonight for this banger of a matchup, folks. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. However, I will not be killing my voice alone. With me, joining me in the commentary booth is Luis of El Matador. How you doing, man?
Doing great, Maz. Really happy to be here with you for what's going to be probably the game of the week in SGL. Yeah, I can't wait.
Absolutely. I do agree that this might be the game of the week, despite some of the performances we've seen recently. And we will go over that, folks, very shortly, so that you know what we're talking about. But this is potentially a top of the table clash, Luis. And we'll see that when we get to the league table. But what are your immediate thoughts on this matchup right now?
Yeah, so going into tonight, we have two of the one-loss teams heading into week 6. We did lose another one-loss team in El Matador. I think we'll go over those fixtures later. So again, very important match for the top of the table. All of these teams that have the one loss are really battling for those top 2 spots to get a first round bye in our SGL playoff. So again, star-studded lineup on both sides. And honestly, Matt, before you get into some little predictions, I genuinely don't know which way this is going to go. I think this could be a really thrilling 5-game series.
I'm absolutely with you. I have no idea how to predict this. It can go either way. It could be a 4 game match with an OT or two. It could be a 5 game match with an OT or two or three, even. Uh, yeah, you know what? If you want to predict, I will give you the chance to do so very soon when I get the predictions going. But keep in mind, only the bold shall predict this. And I am not bold. Plus, I am running the stream, so I cannot predict on the same Twitch channel that I'm running. Interesting
Yeah,
comment in the chat, Louis. Sorry, I'll let you go. What do you want to
yeah,
say?
I just want to highlight everybody for joining the chat so early. We are still 5 minutes out from kickoff. So again, appreciate everyone being here. The streams of late have been tremendous. All of the chat activity, all of the support in general has been really fun to watch. So I really appreciate from us in the booth and from Maz running the streams, everybody being here and really supporting FGL and helping this really grow into being a very awesome community.
Yeah, yesterday was just incredible to see. If you guys missed out, please do check the VOD. That was a fun matchup overall. And speaking of yesterday, I think it's appropriate that we first dive into the week fixtures real quick to see what the results are so far. What do you think, Luis?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so here we go, folks. We talked about yesterday. Yesterday there was a big matchup that occurred between Emerald City Blue and El Matador. Whole lot of people coming in, a whole lot of hype, a whole lot of action, and we had what some would call an upset on paper. EC Blue beating El Matador 3-1. But Luis, maybe you could sprinkle a bit more context into that.
Yeah, tremendous game from EC Blue, playing a heavily rotated El Matador side. I think it was the first time in SGL history that one of Luis Cesar Couve did not play a game for El Matador, and obviously yesterday none of them played. So, but again, tremendous performance from EC Blue. I don't want to take anything away from them. Yeah, that was again on paper it might be a shocker, but then once you read the paper, I think it's pretty even series, and it was a very closely contested series, and honestly, one of the best streams we've had so far this season. So that was really fun last night.
Yeah, the new El Matador boys came in. They left a big impression on game one, but then Emerald City Blues experience paid off, and they were able to see off El Matador in a tightly contested matchup, and especially a tightly contested game four as well. But that wasn't the only matchup that got played out this week, folks. We had Los Verdes versus KC Cauldron, our, I believe, second matchup of the week. And KC Cauldron came back with a bang, sweeping Los Verdes away convincingly, thanks to the return of Cheeky Prophet back into the team after being surprisingly omitted from the roster at the start of the season. But because of the roster update window last week, he was able to come back. And KC Cauldron are looking like title favorites again, aren't they?
Yeah, cheeky and massive return to the defending champions. We've spoke on previous broadcasts about the slow start that the KC Cauldron had. We all know their quality. They are the defending champions, and I think Cheeky coming back into the side is going to be a really big improvement just for their overall team chemistry and as well quality. Cheeky Prophet, one of the better players in FCL, so look to see that SKC team make a rise in the league standings as we do finish this back half of the season.
And then we have the first matchup of the week, the Rebellion versus EC Defiance. Rebellion trucking through EC Defiance as expected, 3-1, and that one is a bit of a surprise, but EC Defiance should be happy that they got a point off the Rebellion right there, and we will be diving right into the league table next to show you what that means and what these results mean so far. But before I do, Luis, do you have any comments you want to give?
Yeah, the Rebellion, arguably the hottest team in SGL. They've won 5 straight series. I do also want to highlight EC Defiance getting one of their 4 points against, again, one of the better teams in SGL. So, yeah, a good series there, and the Rebellion are rolling as we move forward in the season.
And as we are moving forward into the season, we shall move forward into the league table. And this is what we were talking about when we were talking about a top of the table clash. So far, you're seeing the Locals and Rebellion both with 21 points. But if Black Army wins, they will have a 3-point lead at the top. Pretty big and pretty important at this stage of the season. However, folks, if Emerald City RC were to beat Black Army with a score of 3-0 or 3-1, they will go to the top of the table courtesy of the game's won percentage. So, very fine margins, folks. And it's great to see the top 5 be right next to each other like this. And as you can see, Luis, even with the loss, they're still within touching distance at the top of the table. So, I would not be surprised if El Matador remained in contention until the final week of the season. But speaking of being in contention, it's crazy to see 5 teams so good and so close at the top. Like, I don't think we've ever had this in SGL history, have we?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken in previous broadcasts as well about the parity in SGL this season. We have way more than we've ever had. There's so many series you go into historically in FGL where you're like, oh, I already know the winner, I already know the outcome. But really, this season we've seen massive upsets. We've seen, like you mentioned, 5 or 6 teams that you can make a really good argument that they are favorites to win the league. So I think I honestly can't wait for playoffs. I think playoffs is gonna be tremendous. I think we are gonna see the 6 best teams, and honestly, every one of those teams has a chance to win. So yeah, in general, it's been really fun to watch, and yeah, I'm really excited to see. As somebody also playing on one of those 6 teams that I feel like you can make an argument for, I'm really excited to see tonight's game, just to see the levels between Black Army and ECRC, to see where they're at.
Big time. And, speaking of parity and how the league was in the past, we do have an old face in the chat, the one and the only Edson Ochoa. Welcome back to the stream, Edson Ochoa. Welcome back to SGL. Hopefully you're happy to see SGL still kick on strong. And, maybe he could pass a comment in the chat about what the league used to be like back in the day. But yeah, compared to back then, like having this much parity is just incredible. And speaking of chat, we also want to welcome all the Seattle Sounders fans and ECRC cohort, the Cascadia RL community coming in strong. Raid City Monkey, for example, the Moo, Nose, aka Soccer with Shane, Toad Death, of course. Toad Death, they're gonna be playing soon, aren't you? And then of course the other guys from SGL, Shorts, Argless, and more. Now, before we do move on, I want to comment on the rest of the table because it's very important to highlight what's going on below 5th place. That 6th spot in the playoffs, that race is heating up right now, Luis. And KC Cauldron, whilst they did get back into 6th place, they're now tied on points with Emerald City Blue, who, with their win, have put themselves firmly back in contention. Now, let's not forget about Los Verdes and Timbers Army, Luis, but this race is heating up, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think it's going to come down to just one of those top 6 teams just kind of failing throughout the rest of the season. I think EC Blue has been one of the teams over the past few weeks that's been really fun to watch their rise. They've had 2 straight pretty convincing wins. But man, it really feels like the 6 that you see now would be my prediction as how the playoffs are going to be for this season of SGL. But again, you really never know. This season's been full of ups and downs. So I don't know if you agree with me, Maz, but I do think that 6 that's in there right now is most likely the betting odds to finish the top 6.
I'm with you on that on paper with, Cheeky Profit coming back in for KC Cauldron. I would not be surprised to see this 6 remain as is, but never say never. Emerald City Blue is getting better, and they've been consistently improving since week 1. Then you have Timbers Army, who are also starting to get into the groove. Los Verdes got a couple of reinforcements as well. So there's still a slight chance. I'm not going to rule out any other team. This is my 6 as well, what we currently see on the league table, but I don't want to dismiss the rest of the teams. And then you have Steel Army and EC Defiance, who have had a rough season so far, but let's not count them out. They'll come back. They'll get probably a win or 2, and they should be able to finish the season off strong, hopefully.
Yeah, and again, we've spoken, and I keep saying we've spoken because I feel like we keep highlighting the same things, but the race for that final spot is going to be really close, and I think the race for those top 2 spots are going to be really, really close. So we're kind of waiting to see who's going to finish top 2 and who's going to finish in that 6th spot. So exciting storylines on both ends of the table, and I believe, Maz, we have both teams in the lobby.
Oh, yes. But before we dive right in, folks, bear with me for a sec. I would like to capture some predictions. Don't want to kickstart way too soon. So, we don't really have that much time to get the predictions going. Let me see if I can sneak it in real quick. But if you want, you could tell us what you're predicting in the chat. I say this is going to go 5 games. Please go to 5 games. Please go to 5 games. And I see Emerald City RC winning in 5. Luis, what's your prediction?
Oh, man. I'm going to go bold here. I think ECRC wins this in a sweep, if I'm being 100% honest. I'm going to go with a bold prediction there, a little hot take. I think ECRC, I just think that their experience in this league, Black Army did take a little stint out. And so I think that, I think I'm going to go ECRC 3-0.
Hot prediction for sure, but not so unreasonable. I mean, ECRC are getting tougher to score against. They're becoming a more consistent side. And Black Army, they've had a bit of a rough time. They're hitting a bit of a snag. Their squad consists of players who are mostly inexperienced and are playing their first season in SGL. So I would not be surprised if Black Army struggle to, get a game even. But with that said, I don't want to count them out. I really do not want to count them out. And we're starting to see that with the channel points predictions as well, Luis. The points distribution is not that it's not that far. I mean, they're pretty close so far.
Yeah, and again, guys, you still have a little bit of time to get in those predictions for tonight's match in the chat. So make sure you are using those channel points to get in your predictions. And again, the predictions are very, very close. I just feel, in my opinion, I just think that ECRC have been playing just a little bit more cohesive ball. And so, I'm going to go ECRC, like I said. And maybe I'll be completely dead wrong, and it's going to be another case of commentary curse. I'm going to go out on a limb and do that. Say that ECRC is just going to sweep tonight's match.
All right, folks. Both teams are in. Both teams are ready to go. The matchup for the top of the table. The matchup between 2 strong SGL teams. The matchup between 2 teams with great fan bases. As the clock ticks down in matchup, folks, here we go. Black Army versus Emerald City RC.
Yeah, and we see here ECRC running their strongest lineup, so expect a really strong performance out of them. Black Army, Maz, have had different variations and different lineups throughout the season, so I'm interested to see how these 3 work for Black Army.
I fully agree, but this is the first time I think we're seeing the same lineup from week to week. Y2K Eric, Vexamed, and Killasapo, aka Isidore, started last week. And it's good to see them at least stick with the same lineup, because consistency will help them with consistency in the lineup will help them with their consistency in their performances. So far, a bit of a rough start. Gojo should have had a shot on target right there, but Black Army hold on.
Yeah, and two of the highlight players, Matt, before we get too deep in this game, are going to be Vexamed for Black Army and Gojo for ECRC. Those are the two pop-off players on both sides. So expect the winner of that 1v1 matchup to have his team come out ahead.
But I don't want to discount Toad Death and Y2K Eric either. Two players who are the glue for their team. Two players who free up and unlock Gojo and Vexamed. And then you have great third players in Smashly and Killasapo, aka Isidore. This is going to be a really good matchup, folks. I mean, it's really tough to call. They're both having good moments right now. Both have been creating some decent chances going forward. Both have been defending surprisingly well. The only thing that I'm seeing that's different is Black Army are looking a little sloppy at the moment, whereas ECRC's game is a little cleaner at this time.
Yeah, a minute in, I think it's safe to say that ECRC's had a little bit of the better of the chances. They probably could have had a goal or two in that first minute, but Black Army coming into the game, avoiding that dreaded early goal. And I think if you're Black Army, you weathered the storm early on, and so far, you know, you're still 0-0, and so you got to like where you're at after that slow start.
Toad Death going up with his Masamune, beats one, tries to go for a dunk, and Y2K Eric sees it out to the right flank. And now it's Vexamed's turn, trying to dribble up, but Smashly prevents him from being able to advance the ball out, and the pressure continues for Emerald City RC.
One thing that I do like from Black Army is when they're rotating back, they are finding bumps and demos. It's really important. If you play Rocket League, guys, and you're rotating out, look at those bumps on the way back. Don't go out of your way to get those bumps, but if they are there, make sure you are doing that. And Vex so far has done a great job with that.
And speaking of Vex, he helped out his teammate Killasapo defensively, and now he's kicking off the attack to the opposite flank. No shot on target. Y2K Eric couldn't make it either. With that said, though, Emerald City RC do not look phased at all. They don't look like they're scrambling at any point, Luis, and that is not a good sign for Black Army at this stage.
Yeah, not a good sign, but I will say more solo plays out of Vexamed. That's going to be good things for Black Army. He did have a chance there, as we see a great save from him. He did have a chance there to go solo, but he opted for the infield pass, and that didn't really work for him.
No, it did not. And speaking of infield passes, a pass attempt right there by ECRC, but good defending once again for Black Army. Vexamed needs to get some boost, but he goes for a bump attempt to no avail. Y2K Eric cannot advance the ball, and now Killasapo gets a big 50 win. Moves the ball to the left flank. Vexamed goes for a shot on target. Gojo with a straightforward save out to the opposite side. He does not get the boost, but he's going to seek to control the ball at the moment. And he does go for a bump right there, and Black Army sees this out.
Yeah, we saw a lot of early nervy touches from both sides, but we're 4 minutes into the game and we're seeing a lot more control. The nerves starting to quell a little bit as the game continues on, and Eric on the attack. Great save from Smashly. But yeah, the nerves starting to subside for both teams, and I really think that we're seeing some good gameplay right now.
And it's sensible Rocket League as well, but that is not enough as Toad Death comes in, takes over, and gets the first goal with 63 seconds to go.
Yeah, that goal is Smashly there. Smashly reads a pass before Vexamed can get there, which offers up a tee for Toad Death to go and finish. 1 minute left, ECRC with a, I'd say a deserved lead so far.
Deserved lead, absolutely, and they grow on that lead. Smashly FC gets a quick second for ECRC.
Vex with a tragic miss. You hate to see that, but Smashly playing the miss. Virtually a pass to himself as well. So Smashly's, for me, been the highlight player so far in Game 1. And again, 2 goals against ECRC is a tough mountain to climb.
Man, this is a heartbreaking end of the match for Black Army, but they still have a bit of time if they can get a quick goal. Now, before I forget, chat, if you see a goal that you like, if you see a moment that you like, go ahead and clip them. We always like to feature clips on our socials, and who knows, we might be able to set up a compilation of the best highlights and moments of the season. So, if you get clipping, we will start featuring.
Yeah, and right there, Maz, you did see Vexamed had a pretty open ball, and he just gave it away, sent it into the offensive third with no real plan. That's going to be some stuff in Game 2 that if you're LAFC and you're Black Army, giving away possession to ECRC is probably not going to work in your favor.
Ooh, a little bit of messy Rocket League right there between Eric and Kilisapo. But Vexamed takes control. No time, though, to come back into this game. No time for a consolation goal. Emerald City RC keeps a clean sheet and gets a Game 1 win.
I'm actually the obvious contender for MVP of that match. I think that the intercept on the first goal for Toe Death was something that I don't want to people to overlook. That was tremendous. And then, of course, he had that solo assist to himself off another Vexamed miss. But Smashley, again, I think this is some of the better gameplay that I've seen of him this season. And ECRC, to be honest, very convincing game. They outshot Black Army. I think that was very deserved win for ECRC.
You just have to look at the table. You know, ECRC has 10 shots. Black Army, 6. Black Army had to make 6 saves. ECRC only had to make 4. So despite the close nature of the match, I'd say ECRC had the control. They never looked unfazed. And if you are any of the other sides looking at this performance, you should be scared, because this is ECRC seeing off a very adventurous and mercurial Black Army, and they're making them look really dull on the attack.
Yeah, and one thing, if I am Black Army, they were giving the ball away a lot, just sending the ball forward, not passing to a teammate. That's one thing in Game 2, if they want to get a win in this game, that I would recommend to them. Let's start to control the ball a little bit, get some more 50s, and maybe some more solo plays, because last game, the passing was just off.
And you know, one thing that can help with the solo plays is a potential substitution, and we see Black Army doing that right here, folks. Bartez coming in for, I believe, Y2K Eric.
Yeah, Vexamed right there with an attempted double tap. I really respect that. I think we need more of those solo plays from Vex. It's going to cause players from ECRC to commit, which then in turn is going to free up his teammates.
Yeah, and you can see that, like, he sometimes lacks in self-belief when he rushes and just knocks the ball loose. If he just has that self-belief and confidence, I think he can unlock the potential of his team. And with a player like Bartez, you need a player like that to help you unlock your potential. Someone stable, someone who's defensively reliable, someone who will give you the confidence to basically do what you want to do.
Yeah, and Vex has been one of those players that is in the conversation for MVP so far this season. And so, again, sometimes just have a little bit of an ego, you know? Solo plays aren't all bad. As we see a passing play out of Black Army, and so nearly the first goal for Black Army in Game 2 as Isidore is in the, and it hits the crossbar, but there's Martez right on cue. Tremendous play. Again, that was a team play from all 3 players there, and Isidore, who is Killas, by the way. When we say Isidore, his name is in-game is Killas. Yeah, that's just way better from Black Army in the offensive third.
And that is how you get a goal, folks. That beautiful pass out to Vexamed, kickstarted the attack, then a pass off the backboard. Martez's shot attempt was enough to cause a lot of trouble for Toe Death, who had no idea how to read that bounce, and honestly, most of us wouldn't have. That was an unexpected bounce. And then Martez 13, the ever reliable, ever dependable, cleans up and gets the first goal for Black Army in this game too. And honestly, Luis, they needed that. But what they didn't need was this equalizer from Emerald City RC. The perfect response by ECRC at this stage.
Gojo bumps a boostless Vexamed out of the way, and again, that's one of the things that ECRC does better than probably most teams in SGL, is those offensive third passing plays. And Smashley was the recipient, and Smashley's been the one scoring the goals so far for ECRC, and a very, very good response for them.
One thing I like in this performance so far is Smashley's aggression. He is not holding back, and that's kind of putting Black Army into a tough spot because they're not ready for that quick step in by Smashley FC. We'll see how they respond. Oh my goodness, what an attempt though from Vexamed. Oh man, that should have been in.
That would have been one of the goals of the season. A flip reset into a stall. Great save from ECRC, but I like that from Vex. More of that mechanical play is really a good sign if you're a Black Army fan.
Speaking of Black Army, now they need to defend. Smashly FC getting a shot on target, getting a second, getting ECRC second. And the formula is very apparent here, folks. Back to front, quickly. Don't let the opposition settle. Get a shot early into the net. And it's working so far for Emerald City RC.
Yeah, awkward backboard read there from Vex, and that's one of the hardest balls. If you ever played Rocket League, you understand that that ball is extremely hard to read. And Smashly, again, the recipient and the goal scorer, he's been tremendous so far, and easily the MVP so far through games 1 and 2.
Who would have thought that, though? You know, with players like Gojo and Toad Death in Emerald City RC, it is Smashly who's turning up and delivering. And you know, you need goals. Smashly FC is getting all the goals. That's what matters at the end of the day in Rocket League. Smashly FC coming up big tonight.
Yeah, and one of the things we always harp on, Mads, as we've seen an infield pass again from Smashly, is that SGL ranks aren't the be-all, end-all for performances in this league. That was, and I think tonight we're seeing that. Smashly, not the highest rated player in the lobby. As you see, Toaddeath, again, tremendous play from ECRC. Just a beat here. Who did he beat here? Martez just kind of ran out of boost, and Toaddeath, sorry, was there to finish it off. And yeah, so far, I mean, this is very comfortable from ECRC, and also feeding my prediction of a sweep. So I appreciate that.
Oh, but this kickoff might be some trouble, but Smashly's there to see it off. And then demos Killasapo. And now Toaddeath takes control. One thing I want to say as Emerald City RC builds up their attack right here is they're playing very fast. They're not giving Black Army a chance to settle down. And Black Army has just not adapted to it at all. Like, they would push up to try and commit, but they wouldn't have a third to see off an attack. Or they would sit back way too deep without much boost to do anything with. And I wonder if they're just a bit surprised at how Emerald City RC are playing right here. But how would you adjust if you're Black Army in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, right now, ECRC, you know, they always have somebody in net. Maybe some bumps or some demos ahead of play would be something that I would advise. But yeah, it just seems comfortable for ECRC. Again, 2 people in net there. Those sorts of shots just aren't really going to cut it with the quality of defense that ECRC plays. And with a minute left, Maz, man, it feels like Black Army are out of ideas.
Oh, but it's not over yet. Good pass attempt by Killasapo to Martez. No shot on goal, though. Good block by Emerald City RC. Vexima tried to do something right there as well, but he just couldn't get control of the ball. And one thing I'm noticing right now that I've noticed for quite a bit is Black Army just drop back into the goal almost immediately. They don't look to recycle back into the midfield via the pads. So maybe that's something they could try and do, although that is easier said than done. And speaking of easier said than done, Vexima should have had that shot on target. That should have gone in.
Yeah, you need your best player finishing your best chances, and that was Vexima there. Unlucky for Black Army. And man, that's got to be a backbreaker. 15 seconds left. ECRC are going to finish it off with a tremendous 3-man passing play, and that's going to be all she wrote for game 2.
Textbook Emerald City RC, Smashly to Gojo to Toad, and then Smashly coming in and finishing it off. This is the sign of a well-coached team, folks. That kind of passing is very deliberate. It is very much something that they have practiced on, and it's very much a sign of a championship team.
Yeah, and Maz, how many times do we say when you miss a golden chance on one end, the ball goes the other way into your net? And we saw that right there on the last goal. And again, I think Smashly is a highlight player. When we speak about the Gojos of the world, the Veximeds of the world, but SGL is a league in which players like Smashly really thrive. Players like Shorts, like Bear Blitz, these sorts of players who you might look and they don't have a GC next to their name, but in SGL they play at a level similar. And so, tremendous play from Smashly so far. The real catalyst in seeing his team go 2-0 up here.
I fully agree, and I wanted to highlight that during the game as well. But now in this break, I think it's very important to highlight how SGL has come so far where back in the day, and maybe Edson can corroborate us on this, you needed your best players to step up and perform for your team to do well. So it's typically the teams with the best players performing consistently who would be at the top. Now, you can have a team where your best players are the best support for a player like Smashly. And now Smashly can thrive and perform and get a hat trick and an assist and basically be involved in almost every goal for his team in this matchup, which is crazy to think of. You know, we talked about Shorts and how he was involved in every goal for the first 2 games. We kind of have that going with Smashly as well here, I think.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we're seeing, Black Army's first season back into SGL after a short break, but ECRC, I think they're just showing that Black Army is still relatively new. These players here are relatively new to each other in terms of their SGL play, but ECRC, they've been here, they've done that. The experience of playing with these players in league games, where the nerves are a little bit higher than playing in ranked, a little bit higher than playing in private lobbies. So I think it's just showing with the team cohesion that ECRC has, trumping the youth of Black Army, so to speak.
I fully agree with you on that. And Black Army kickoff right here. Y2K Eric coming back in, this time for Killa Sapo, aka Isidore. And it's funny because they took out their most experienced player tonight for someone who's playing in his first season. But maybe that might be the answer to Black Army's woes in this matchup.
Yeah, an attempted passing play there from Black Army didn't quite come off the way they would have hoped, but better. I think the passing plays have been the times in which Black Army's had the best chances. In Game 1, the passing was really off, and Game 2 was a little bit better. So if they're going to want to make this a series, those passes are going to need to come off.
And it's not just passes, Luis, but when they get their first touch, they cannot knock it loose unless they have a demo play right there. Good demo by Vexman, but that shot just wasn't powerful enough at going towards the net at fast enough speed. But yeah, besides the passing plays and the accuracy in their passes, they also need to keep a close control of the ball. They can't afford to just knock it loose because this Emerald City RC sits back and waits for the ball to come to them. And if you give them the ball relatively easily, that's just suicidal. So for a team like Black Army, maybe they need to slow the ball down and start dribbling it a bit more. And they have the players to do that right now with this trio.
Yeah, and one of the things that we spoke about earlier is that ECRC's defense is one of the best, if not the best in the league. They always have one or two guys in the net, and so if you are going to threaten them offensively, you need those boosts or bumps ahead of the play, or alternatively, you need someone who's really good at air dribbles. As we see Vexamed try to do an air dribble of his own, you need someone to interrupt those players that are playing defense.
Decent boost management right there by Toad Death, using enough to save the ball and then clear it away once again. Now he has 100 boosts yet again. This is one thing I wanted to highlight as Black Army tried to get a shot on goal right there. Emerald City RC's boost management has been really good, so they always play like they have no boost troubles.
Yeah, and Eric had the best chance of the game so far with that shot off the crossbar. If you are going to take shots from that range against ECRC, those are the types that you want to see. And on the other end, Smashly, a passing play with Gojo. Man, Smashly is just playing striker today, and really, it feels like any ball that he shoots at the net just goes in, and it's 1-0 to ECRC.
One thing I want to highlight in that great play is Gojo was going up against two Black Army players, beat both of them with a straightforward pass to Smashly, and Smashly just had a relatively, well, I say relatively easier task of getting a shot into the net. It's still not easy, as we saw with Vex in the last game. But Smashly has the scoring boots right now. He is in form. And honestly, if you're ECRC, just keep feeding Smashly.
Yeah, keep feeding Smashly, and man, it feels like Maz, the first time I'm not going to curse the team when I said they're going to sweep. I'm just really liking the way that ECRC is playing. It's under control. It's a been there, done that sort of attitude, and yeah, I think so far they've been easily and obviously like the most comfortable team on the field.
I mean, you just look at that sequence right there. Black Army had two decent chances, and ECRC are able to see this off, and then when they bring the ball up, they just get another goal just like that. Martez, the third man, trying to knock it long, but he gives the ball to Gojo, back to Smashly, who has an open net. Where's Black Army in that sequence?
We've spoken all series long, Maz, about Black Army just hitting the ball to the other team, and that was another instance of them just hitting the ball to ECRC, and that's one of the things they do best is turn those the defense into offense off of those loose balls, and yeah, it's comfortable, and this is the ECRC that we've seen over the past few seasons be one of, if not the best team in the league.
Oh, but a really good chance there for Black Army, but Toad Death is able to see that off somehow. The ball is still in front of the ECRC net, and Vexamed finally gets one back for Black Army.
And Maz, the goal comes here from a bump and causing chaos. That's one of the things we keep saying. And Black Army, if they are going to find an equalizer in this match, We need more of that. We need more bumps in front of the net demos, and yeah, it'll free up the net for Black Army.
Let's see if Black Army learns from that. They have found the solution with that goal. Let's see if they can keep that up. But once again, they're just gifting the ball back to Emerald City RC. And I know it sounds a bit harsh because that was more of a clearance attempt, but still, you cannot afford to give the ball back to Emerald City RC that easily because they can just come back like this. Smash FC going for another shot attempt. Bartez trying to clear this out and get some boost again. Black Army need to regain themselves if they want to get an equalizer.
Man, even right there, Matt, just another ball gifted downfield by Vex. I would have really liked it. Just keep the ball on your head and force a 50 or try to do a little bit of a solo play there. So a minute left. And again, if you are a Black Army, you are going to need more chaos in front of the net because right there, again, 2 players from ECRC all over the net. And with their quality, they're not going to be conceding goals from distance.
Yeah, you'd think one of the Black Army players would just be like, okay, let me slow down the ball just like this, like what Y2K Eric attempted, and just dribble it out. Because all too often, with the clock running out, they just keep bumping the ball away, and ECRC just keep getting a chance to come back. But with 30 seconds to go, it's now Black Army's turn to advance and see if they can create a chance. Martez with a near post shot, but he cannot get it on target. And ECRC are sitting back, they're holding on. Martez with a shot to the far post, off target. Eric needs to go back and gather himself. And Emerald City RC have 10 seconds left to a sweep. Can Black Army get a goal back? No! This is the worst possible outcome for them. And folks, the clock has gone down to 1. All that needs to happen is for the ball to go down and Emerald City RC sweep Black Army.
And again, no commentary curse here. My prediction actually happened. So that was the ECRC that I thought going into this series that we would see, and we saw it. Dominant, comfortable. It was never really in danger. Even at the end there in Game 3, Black Army had a couple of chances. There was a double commit, I think with like 15 seconds left on a middle ball. That went a little bit wide, but again, I think ECRC there, we'll hopefully get an interview, but yeah, that felt pretty comfortable. That felt pretty business as usual from ECRC, sorry. Tremendous result. And if you're Black Army, you hopefully go back and look at this result and just see what you did wrong. We talked about it during the stream about just giving the ball away, some more solo plays, some more dribble plays, forcing 50s would be something that I would recommend to them. But I think the storyline here is ECRC just doing what ECRC does, being one of the better teams, if not the best team in the league, and I think we saw it tonight, Maz.
Yeah, and in all honesty, if you ever doubted ECRC at any point in the season, doubt no longer, folks. ECRC is showing us all why they are the favorites for the championship this season. And for Black Army, they need to regroup, and they need to just go back to the drawing board and, I guess, learn their lessons. Simply put, we saw it against the Rebellion. They started to drop back, and then the Rebellion choked them off in the midfield. And against Emerald City RC, it was Emerald City RC dropping back and Black Army just knocking the ball up to them. So, they faced 2 different kinds of opponents, and now they need to learn their lessons, and we'll see how they do. Luis, any further thoughts before we get started with our interview here?
Last thing on Black Army, when they've played 2 of the better teams in the Rebellion and ECRC, they've really, really struggled. So, again, they're going to have to go back and just watch the VODs. Again, I think the double commits. But the big thing for me was just hitting the ball downfield, and that's just one thing that they're going to have to work on. But yeah, enough with that. Let's talk to the victors here.
Yes, absolutely, folks. We have our interview ready to go. Please welcome on in Emerald City RC's Toaddeath. Toaddeath, how are you doing, dude?
Hey, I'm pretty good. That felt fun. So it's always fun to win.
Yeah, it's always fun to win, Toad. We were speaking on commentary. Like that seemed like pretty comfortable. Like, was it comfortable? Because it felt like it was like business as usual. Like y'all weren't really sweating at all against one of, at least in the standings, one of the better teams.
I mean, yeah, it would be hard to call it comfortable, but I think we were maybe comfortable with our rotations because we were moving around a bit easier than I think previous series. So we were comfortable with ourselves, and like when we're calling out if we're gonna save it or where we're gonna put it, it's actually going there. So that was a nice bonus to call out and then have the follow through. It was pretty sick.
And then one last question for me. Smashly was like, he was like popping off that series. Like I think what do you have, like 7 or 8 goals, something like that. He had a tremendous amount of goals. Yeah, talk about Smashly, man. He balled out.
Yeah, he had man of the match every game. I'm pretty sure. So that was really nice to see. He was making saves on defense. He was rotating. He was doing some of his half rotations, but they were actually working because I think we were able to pump the ball up to him. And he has some like uncanny ability to redirect or make an aerial play it seems above his pay grade, but he puts them in pretty consistently.
Well, you say above his pay grade, but I don't know if we can say that right now because he was basically involved in every single goal in his team. I'm just trying to confirm this to be sure. Yeah, 1 goal, 1 assist in game 1. And I think 3 goals, 1 assist in game 2. And then in game 3, he got 2 goals. He literally was involved in every single goal in this game.
Dang.
So, was this something that was kind of planned out by you guys, where you and Gojo would lay the foundation and, do a lot of the supporting creative work and let Smashly just go and get the goals?
I mean, so the only game plans that we'll ever have really is like, do we want to make the other team hurt or play fair? And so we never really have like a designated goal scorer. It just tends to be Smashly sometimes. And this was a night where he was just locked in for 3 games straight, like no breaks. And I think Gojo did a really good job on defense and in the midfield in transition. And Smashly just put away like every chance he had. He even put away a chance that he didn't have. He just took it right off Gojo's goal tally. But I mean, that's I don't know. That's a striker, I guess.
And then
Well,
Mads,
yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think ECRC is in first place now. Yes.
Yeah, they should be with that sweep. We will show you guys the league table in a bit. But before we move on to that, Toad, you talked about 2 possible game plans: hurt your opponents or play fair. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like how aggressive do you want to go? That's like the only dial we have is if there's someone with weak mentals, then we might target that. Or if there's a team that does like to demo, then we got to counter in some way, and usually that ends up being quite violent. But if there's a team like this where they play pretty nice flowing Rocket League, I think that's fun. So I don't think it was excessively violent. I think it was mostly a pretty clean game tonight and just kind of let the Rocket League flow. So that was a lot of fun.
Well, they did try to let the Rocket League flow, but they kind of played into your hands as well, as you guys just took control and saw this game off comfortably. And I believe you've played a bunch of difficult opponents already, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking through your future fixtures, and the only other really difficult matches that you have on paper is week 10 against El Matador, I believe. So, do you think this win was big in that context?
I mean, yeah, I was looking forward to this one for a while. I know Black Army has, had and still even has a really good record, and they've got really quality players. I've been tracking their ranks, you can't get anything past me. And yeah, they're pretty quality. So Vex, I think we definitely tried to limit more today. I think he got one past us, but yeah, we were trying to focus on Vex because we know he's pretty mechy. So we didn't love that.
Well, you guys got a well-deserved win right here. Congratulations on that.
Wait, one more thing. Toad, I predicted y'all to sweep, so I appreciate that. I actually got a prediction
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say about
thank you for
prediction.
thank you for doing that.
I mean,
What was that?
No, just thank you for doing that. You made me look smart. Okay.
Oh no, of course, yeah.
right.
Hey, you are.
Oh.
Don't let Palace tell you otherwise.
Oh God, please don't mention his name.
Anyways, moving on. Floor's yours, Toad Death. If you want to say anything you need to say before we end this interview, go right ahead, dude.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to the whole Pacific Northwest Rocket League, everybody out there, even Rydog. It's a lot of fun, so I'm excited. We got a lot more fun fixtures coming up, but I think everybody's familiar with us, so I'll leave it there.
There you go. Thank you very much for your interview, Toad Death, and enjoy that win. Have a good night, and we'll catch you next time, dude.
Yeah, thank you both. Take care.
Yeah, peace.
That was Toad Death of Emerald City RC, sounding cool and composed, and honestly sounding very confident as well. And, based off of what he said, Luis, it just seemed like nothing will ever phase Emerald City RC. Like, they are pretty much ready for any and all takers in this season.
Yeah, again, I think that was just a super comfortable series. That was an ECRC series, even against one of the better teams in the league. So they've got to be feeling over the moon. Again, their fixtures going into the latter half of the season is really, really favorable. I think the only really team that you would think would have a chance is probably that El Matador game in Week 10. So they're well on track to being the number 1 seed going into the playoffs. And with performances like today, there's really very few teams, if any, that are going to be stopping them.
Big time. I want to highlight a couple of chat messages, Luis, in the stream. Isidore coming in and saying GG's, but just a better team in general. Vexmed coming in with GG's as well. Good sportsmanship from Black Army right there. But I want to highlight on their performance a little bit before we end the stream and also catch up on other stuff. What do you think they need to change right now? Because it seems like they've struggled to adapt to their opponents, and they kind of lose control very quickly. So what do you think they need to do to make sure they can get back into the title race and not risk dropping down further into the standings?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it during the series. I just think they just gave the ball away. And against a team like ECRC, who always had like 1 or 2 people in the back half of the field, they thrive off of that. So that's why the game was just so comfortable for ECRC, because every time that Black Armor would give them the ball, they would just collect and start that counter attack, and that's where you saw those passing plays between Gojo and Toad Death and Smashly. And so yeah, just collect the ball. 50s are good. 50s are your friend. Always a 50 over dumping the ball downfield. So, but yeah, they'll learn. Like, Black Army's really good. They'll learn. They'll go back and watch this series, and hopefully they take a lot of the same criticism that we mentioned during stream.
Yeah, I fully agree. One thing I also want to add on is, we keep talking about Vexmed, how good he is, and how much he's, stuck out this season. I do want to highlight that Vexmed is still a relatively new, higher level player, in the sense that he started playing Rocket League last year, and he started off as a gold player, and then all of a sudden he got better. Now he is entering up into the Grand Champ level, still in Champ 3, I believe. So for someone who's come up this quickly, he still has quite a bit to learn. Do you think you noticed a bit of naivety in his gameplay when you watched him tonight?
No, I don't think. Vex made some mistakes, but like I don't think you can criticize him for like this series tonight. It's a team game, and his team didn't play well, and ECRC played tremendous. So like, did he make mistakes? Yeah. Will he go back and watch the game and be like, oh, I should have just gave the ball away here or there? Yeah, sure. But like, I don't think it's like Vex's fault they lost the series. Like, not even close.
No, I wasn't trying to blame him there. I just wanted to highlight that, he still has a bit of a way to go. I don't want to put too much focus on him and say, oh, Black Army is Vexmed and that's it. Because at the end of the day, they're up there because they have a good team. Martez is a good player. Eric is a good player. Isidore was around last season. Not last season. In Season 6, I believe, and he was pretty good. And lest we forget, Sakugo, their most experienced player, is still around. And he could still turn up and play a part in this Black Army side. So, I think they might need to look into that SGL experience as well if they want to go far. But for now, they're still doing fine. I wouldn't be too worried about them. All right, folks.
Alrighty.
Before we end the stream, sorry, Luis, do you want to say something?
You don't have an updated standings by chance? I know we're literally commentating, so you probably don't have time. But do we have that by chance?
I have an update. I was gonna go right into that right now.
Awesome.
So, here's what the standings look like, folks. With that win, yes, Emerald City RC are indeed at the top of the table. by 3% in the game's win percentage. That's how fine the margins are at the top. Now, what really matters here is if you finish in the top 2, because the top 2 teams got to buy into round 2 in the playoffs. And as you can see, the top 5 are separated by 2 points. This is insane. Oh my goodness. I don't think we've ever seen a league this close, Luis.
No, and it's honestly, this is the best season in SGL, to be honest. Like just the overall like competitiveness is awesome. I love seeing that.
It's just so incredible to watch. I mean, you have El Matador, who despite their loss this week, they can still go up to the top of the table if the other teams start to drop some points. Black Army, they only have 2 losses. Sure, they may have had 2 bad losses, but they're still in contention as well. And then you have the Rebellion, who are having a terrific season in their first full season. And they're tied on points with 2 teams that are looking very strong in the locals at Emerald City RC. And the race for 6th is also as hot. I know we talked about it at the start, but it's just incredible to see 2 really good storylines developing. One for the top 2 spots and the other for 6th place. And, you know, there's still a bit of time for both Emerald City Defiance and Steel Army to bounce back as well, should they start clicking and getting better. And, yeah, folks, if you've been keeping track of the stream on, you know, if you're keeping track of SGL via these streams or on Discord, make sure to keep following the season, because I think you'll enjoy this even if you're not necessarily playing in the season.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say is I don't think at week 7 into any SGL season we had 5 teams that are like 2 points off the top. So it's by far and away, and I've been here since I think season 4, 5. I forgot what it was. So been here a while. This is easily like the most competitive SGL season we've ever had. So yeah, the race for the top spot before going into playoffs are going to be really intriguing.
And before we do end the stream, I do want to highlight one message from Edson Ochoa, Luis, if you don't mind. Really early on, I forgot to bring this up early, but I think it's poignant that we bring this up now. When I asked him about what the past seasons were like back in his day, and he said something he said to basically, yeah, I remember when all this was just grass as the eye could see. Lol, but yeah, I remember that there was more disparity between the top and bottom of the table. It was still a fun experience though, and I'm glad how much the league has grown. Your thoughts on that statement?
Yeah, it echoes what we've been talking about, the parity. And again, that's just one thing that we've seen is that not only is there more parity, but I think the league is better overall. I think every individual team has a lower floor, or a higher floor, sorry, than we've seen in previous SGL seasons. So, yeah, I think that, again, I think what Devitt highlights in chat, that some of those bottom teams are taking games off of the top teams too. So, yeah, I think that's what you like to see, and yeah, hopefully that continues.
All right, folks, it is getting late, so we're going to wrap up the stream very soon. Any final thoughts from you, Luis, before we wrap it all up?
Yeah, no, chat, thank you for being here. The streams have been really awesome. The chat activity has been really great. Really appreciate all y'all being here. And yeah, congratulations to ECRC on winning the SGL Game of the Week.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Just want to say a couple more things real quick. You guys are what make us do what we do. When you guys keep turning up, when you guys keep playing a part, when you guys keep enjoying these seasons in various ways, whether by watching the streams or by playing in these matches or just following along in the background, you know, you help us continue to do what we do. And I do want to say one more thing. We're not just going to stop right here. We're going to see if we can push this even further, take this to the next level, and continue to not only allow supporters to connect with each other through the medium of gaming, but also develop a network of supporters so that everyone gets to know each other and everyone gets to see that there's a bigger world out there than just their local supporters group. But thank you very much for joining, guys. Thank you all. Hopefully you all enjoyed this match. We will catch you for the next match, which is Timbers Army versus Steel Army, hopefully whenever that gets scheduled. Anything else you want to say, Luis, before we wrap it up?
That should be it. Appreciate everybody for coming. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Take care, everyone. Have a good night, and peace!